feeling some pretty fierce warrior energy right now. Be honest, it feels good. The cause does not necessarily feel good. But the fact that I'm choosing to use the anger, the frustration, the exasperation, I'm using it, I'm channeling it, and being productive, being focused. And I'm not dissipating any of that energy in wasteful indulgence. I really would love to buy a pack of cigarettes and jack off. Previous outlets for frustrated, angry energy, but I haven't been doing those things. It is a feeling of maturity, of focus, of finally, truly putting my own needs first. Being able to draw a line and say no. No, I'm not going to give my energy away. No, I'm not going to get distracted by other people's demands. I'm not going to be pulled into the world's drama. I'm going to be disciplined and be strong. For myself. Because really I have nobody else in my life that I think deserves my energy, my sacrifice. I see people around me who would love to have me do things for them. As I've said before, it's mostly these kind of helpless women who express their need in this entitled way. And I am so effing sick of it, because that's what I have put up with my whole life. That's what I've been around my whole life. It's entitled women, and men that enable them. I don't know what the solution is for the world. We've gone so far off track, we've gone so far wrong I really don't know how we turn it around. I believe we do need structure. We do need a kind of strict culture that makes sure that things of value get passed down, and that there is something to pass down to the next generation. Now it feels like a world that is so ruined and chaotic. Why would anybody want to have children? And I think this is the sentiment. It's that, and it's also this superficial selfishness. A selfishness that is about ego gratification, not wanting to sacrifice for anyone. I've been willing to sacrifice. But when that is abused, it's not valued, and there's very little consideration of me. Like, because I'm a man, I don't need help. I don't know. I haven't asked, I haven't been, because for me, in the past, that meant these strings. And so I've been averse to asking for help. Because there's this weird, sticky, manipulative conditions from the women I grew up with. I honestly don't know how to sort it all out. The only way I know how to is completely isolate myself and just focus on my stuff. Taking care of my basic needs. Taking care of my living space, my finances, my vehicle. I don't have any lofty aspirations because none of that seems feasible. I can just take care of the basics, and maybe I can find some satisfaction in that. At least I'm not an addict lying on the street like I see all over the town that I live in. So many people that have just completely failed. They're lying in a crumpled heap in the parks, in the street. The government's giving them drugs. This liberal, infantilizing government that just enables people to kill themselves. And the Canadian government has so far killed 70,000 people through the medically assisted dying program. More people than died in the Vietnam War in 9 years. We live in an incredibly sick society, governed by some of the worst people. For a fraction of what is spent on health care, we could have an entirely different approach. What if we just had neighborhood gardens where people were coming together and able to eat food that they themselves had grown, them and their neighbors. That alone would be tremendous, not only the nourishment of local organic food, but also the community that would come out of that. We have vacant lots filled with garbage. Why can't the city require the landowner to either build some housing there or turn it into a community garden? Because the will's not there. Because the buddies in the Rotary group or the Freemason group, they don't want to pressure their buddies. It's corruption. It's evil. It's not just here and there. It's widespread. It's the system. But I'm moving out of the grief and despair that I felt for a long time about it. Into a determination to be strong. To do the right thing. And it's not easy to understand what that is, because I might look at it, I might describe it as being taking care of myself. But it's not at the expense of others. I don't think me saying no to somebody that is expecting me, for example, the African lady who lives in my building, who told me that I'm going to help her learn to drive, told me that on the weekend that I will take her out driving. Even after I helped her get a car, I helped her insure it, and she was like, oh, I don't know these things, you have to help me. After I helped her and helped her and helped her, and that wasn't good enough, it's like, at a certain point, it's like, no, you need to pay somebody, you need to figure it out on your own. You're a grown woman. I'm certain that she's gotten help from the government. I don't get any help from the government. I've had to work part-time and not at all because of my health being bad. And I've got nothing. I was banned from the medical clinic for not wearing a mask in 2023. So if I want to go to a medical clinic, I have to drive to the next town because I'm banned for life. Besides, I know if I go to the doctors, they will not know how to treat whatever I have. They'll run me through a gamut of other random things. Oh, let's try this drug, let's try this drug, let's try this, let's poke you with this, let's radiate you with this. Because they don't know. They're big pharma drug pushers. That's it. And they use the taxpayer dollars to fund those corporations, to make profits for the shareholders, who are often either directly or indirectly benefiting those politicians, those policymakers, their friends, their family are the ones getting rich. It's a big scam, has been for a long time. This socialized medicine is just a big scam. And it harms people. It doesn't heal anyone. I was absolutely, utterly disgusted seeing how seniors in emotional grief and anxiety, because they're essentially in prison and their needs are not being met. And when they have emotions, they get medicated. It's heartbreaking to see that and be part of that. To be forced to enable that. I've decided that I'm going to stay mad. I'm going to embrace these feelings and I'm going to channel them. I'm not going to waste them and dissipate them with weed or cigarettes or masturbation or sex. There's no point in trying to find a romantic partner or a relationship or anything like that. Nobody knows how to do that. Nobody knows how to communicate. Nobody can take any feedback without getting bent out of shape. It will be a blessing if everything falls apart. And finally, people need to come back to reality. That nobody owes you anything. It's the law of the jungle. Nobody's here to save you. We'll be back to square one. We won't even have agriculture, perhaps. Nobody knows how to grow anything. Nobody knows how to do the basic stuff. As I'm working on my vehicle, I'm struggling with basic things because my dad never showed me how to do any of that, even though he knew how to do it. But it took too much patience, you know. You didn't have the patience to show me. I don't know how to shoot a gun. My mom wouldn't let my dad show me. My dad knew how. My mom wouldn't let me shoot a gun. I usually resent this. I felt resentment towards my parents for a long time. They did not give me the skills to be confident primarily. That's the thing. They undermined my confidence. Finally, at almost 50 years old, I have worked for it myself. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe that's fine. It's brutal. And so that's how I feel about the world now. Maybe it's got to get really brutal. So we get back to basics. So we get back to reality. So many people are living in this artificial reality. They need all this coddling. They're so fragile. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being able to handle having feelings. It's a fear of feeling. You hurt me with those words. Okay. And you're not dead. You're having some feelings. Good for you. I don't give a fuck. That's your problem. That's your responsibility to deal with your own fucking feelings. I didn't make those feelings occur in you. I actually think this kind of sentiment, kind of stoicism, is probably what's best for humanity. Because we can't seem to collectively navigate higher ideals. We're not mature enough. We don't understand nature and how we've gone wrong. If we lose our connection with nature, where nature is the guiding principle, we look to nature, then we're lost. We're adrift in space, and we're driven by narcissism. And I really want to find the nuance here, because just what I'm doing right here, where I'm talking to myself, there's nobody really else watching, maybe one or maybe two people. There's 4 subscribers on this channel. I don't think I know who 2 of them are. One might say this is a narcissistic thing. I'm doing this for self-awareness. Shouting into the void. And I don't have a psychology degree, so I can't really academically define narcissism. But what I believe the trait that we must be wary of is this hunger of the ego that is willing to sacrifice other people to be fed. It's when somebody's totally identified with the ego, which is baseless. It's not grounded in reality. It's not grounded in love. It's not intelligent. It's not wise. Well, it could be argued that it's intelligent. It has use of the intellect and can be very conniving and manipulative. But it's just like a corporation. It's soulless, and it's all about consumption and growing bigger and more powerful. It's really the antithesis of the soul. I choose to self-reflect so that I know the soul, so that I know my soul, so that I know my spirit. I know spirit, and I'm sublimating, I'm getting to the root of things, I'm getting to the base of motivations, so that I'm not manipulated, I'm not influenced by the ego. I'm not projecting my shadow onto other people. I don't need to use them to buoy myself up, to make my ego bigger. I want my ego to just be a servant, able to be this tool, this skillful application of my spirit in the world. The ideas of grandiosity, of making myself some character, some important person, some having achievements and all of that is unappealing to me. The only reason I would want to have worldly power is to have some kind of effect that lasts beyond me, that beneficially affects the world. I don't care to be remembered. I don't need to be remembered or known. But I do want to feel within myself that I contributed something, that I honored the impulses that come from within me of creativity, of love. I don't believe that means subservience, martyrdom, being nice. I think more than anything that I can offer is how all of the things that we have been demonized, sternness, authority, anger, can actually be an offering of love, can be in service. Because they're corrective mechanisms, and we are so off course that this kind of karmic energy, this karmic reckoning, is being invoked by the universe. And if only people would be open to what I have offered in a humane way. And not just me, but anyone who offers that. Authoritarian approach, a disciplinarian kind of approach, an intense authenticity. Instead of a don't be mean to me, be nice. It's always offered in a gentle way initially. And if that's not accepted, it's a little louder, it's a little harsher. If that's refused, then it becomes even more harsh, more authoritarian. This is the energy of Saturn. This is the energy of Pluto. And it will F you right up if you have no respect for it. It's what brings maturity. facing these hard aspects of life. And strongly encouraging a deepening of relationship with one's soul and with spirit, which is the Word of God, which is that whisper that we need to practice listening for, that will guide us gently, kindly. But if we refuse to listen, inevitably the universe is going to be very harsh with us. And that's where we're headed. And the tendency is to look for somebody to blame. And there quite possibly are people to blame. But that won't do any good. Really, ultimately, we have to take responsibility. And that is part of that atonement, that one-ment where there's a reckoning of what is. And for me, that means this reckoning of the anger and frustration, the passive-aggressive feelings that I've felt by living in this state of martyrdom that I took on because that was the pattern I was shown, this kind of narcissistic, buoying oneself up through sacrifice, even when it's not even asked for, of this victim mentality that gives one this kind of power this righteousness. And yeah, I'm really interested in dismantling this so that I get to the actual power, not stolen valor, not stolen power, not a facade, a character that's playing a part. Instead, to be somebody with real strength. And if that's only for me, because nobody else values it, values the full offering of that I can give, but I also have boundaries. I have integrity and values, and if you want to be part of that, to benefit from my power and my strength, then you've got to honor my values and be able to communicate with me. You've got to be willing to show up and be vulnerable and put your cards on the table. I don't like using metaphor. I'd rather I guess the problem is in generalization, and it's better to talk about specific situations, but it's like I am talking so much about the past. I mean, the most recent is this lady who seems to think that I don't know, is it because I'm white and she's black that I owe her something? That's the way she's treating me. That I'm obligated, even though she's just the neighbor, she just lives in the same building. And I helped her, and so that means that I'm now signed up to help her forever whenever she asks. And she doesn't even ask. She doesn't even ask. She just tells me that I'm going to do this thing for her. And that in itself gets my back up. There's no relationship. There's no asking. There's no consideration. And the thing that's interesting about it is that I have a tendency just to do that. And even though I have feelings of resentment, to just push them down, disregard them, and be nice. And that's because I was trained to be that way. My mother set me up for failure in this regard. To be abused, to endure, and to not have good boundaries. To have no boundaries. And I'm literally I'm months away from being 50 years old. And it's taken me this long to be able to say no. Because I couldn't say no, I had to isolate myself. Because otherwise, I would just be abused by people. And this has happened many times. Even where I'm drawn to people who will take me for granted. Also that I don't feel like I can ask for anything. I might be rejected, or I might be told that my desire, what I'm asking for, I shouldn't have asked for that. How dare I? Again, this is a pattern from my mom's family. Bunch of very messed up people who would never admit that they are. Never apologize, never recognize any of the harms that they've done, that they do. I feel like it's all coming to a head. I imagine this is happening in other people's lives too. I feel like that is the case. All this shadowy garbage is coming up. And we're having to face it. And that's good. I feel ready for it because I have been facing it for a while. I have been taking responsibility for myself and my feelings, thoughts. Not perfectly, but at least with the intention. And it's been brutal. It's been hard. Because as I do, and I see things in more clarity, more rage, more anger comes up, and then I don't know what to do with it. And the impulse is to shut it down, to vent it in these ways that don't help. They're ultimately self-destructive. They're self-harming because they're motivated from this place, this self-destructive thoughts and beliefs that I'm bad. So those thoughts and feelings come up. But I have to choose differently what to do with them. Instead of just keeping them within the same circuitry, the same paradigm, the same loop. I have to be stronger. I have to rise up. I have to stand up taller, face them with maturity. I'm feeling ruthless about it. I don't give a shit what I look like, how I come across to anyone else. This is the fight for my soul. I'm not following anyone else's narrative, anyone else's, this is what I should do and this is how to do it. It's to the best of my ability, my truth. And I don't need to explain it to anyone else. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm explaining it to me. I'm affirming my own self. And that's not narcissism. My hope is that doing this does help me get clarity, that I can somehow maybe eventually codify it, explain it in a clear way. That practicing this will help me be able to translate this inner muck, because that's often what it feels like, into something that I can convey to others in a meaningful way, in a way that can be helpful to them, can inspire them. Because really, I can't imagine most people how they can possibly deal with the world. I feel like I'm well equipped. I think the abuse that I experienced in my life was not to the degree where I'm so disabled, because I know there's some people like that, and yet then it does seem like there's some people that went through really atrocious abuse and are quite strong, manage to turn that into strength. So I don't know what the lesson is that in that. I think maybe there is some wisdom in understanding that this life and this world is about hardship. It's not I don't believe it's hell, because I think there is some traction and there's some reward for having integrity and a determination to live by truth and one's moral compass. But it's a hell of a school. I guess I did say it's a hell of a school. It's a brutal fucking school. And maybe it's just because I'm at a certain stage of it that it feels the way it feels. Where I have this awareness of this bigger picture of the human potential. And yet I see how much we're falling short of that. It seems like a lot of other people don't give a shit. They're happy with their drive-through McDonald's, their video games, their TV shows, their whatever the fuck they're doing. Even steroids and drugs and entertainment and myriad of things that are all very superficial and pleasure island stuff that turns you into a jackass. And I think if I lived in another time, maybe there would be, I'd belong to some kind of order that would, have a teaching explaining all this. But then again, maybe the real life experience is what is needed. Where there is no guru, there's nobody holding my hand spiritually, and I've got to figure it out for myself. And that's what it comes down to. Where the whole story of 30 nights and 30 days in the desert. That's what it takes to find God, I guess.